And we are continuing to provide support to the students that need it to get them through that portfolio process. However, you know, looking at this the first time around, again, it's our first time going through this process with this new assessment, you know, we decided we really need to provide a little more comprehensive support prior to that NJGPA. Let's get more of our students to demonstrate their proficiency through that assessment. So next year what we are proposing is, again, providing more comprehensive instruction, supplemental instruction for our students after school and during the day prior to the administration of the NJGPA in the fall. We also have
But the JGPA, the second period and the small groups, are they both mandatory classes for that?
we do. We take them from an elective or another, you know, area where we can during the school day. We offer it after school if that's better. But we certainly strongly encourage the students to take advantage of that. So we give them a schedule. And I think the other piece is, you know, we really have fabulous teachers that have chosen to provide that supplemental support and instruction. They really have a way of engaging our students and making it seem not as onerous as it could possibly be.
So it's a class, the second period is a class for the fall?
No, there were 2 periods, I'm sorry. So like 2 separate times they pulled the students, not necessarily during the second period.
Oh, so 2 different times a week?
Yes,
they pulled
thank
up.
you, yes,
Okay,
exactly.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you, Dr.
Thank you very
Lackaby.
much, Dr. Lackatina.
Thank you.
I'm going to open public. Thank you. So let's move into the public portion of the agenda, on our agenda. This is for agenda items only. So anything that anybody wants to talk about this evening that is directly related to our agenda now is your opportunity. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions on the current agenda. Please provide your name and municipality in which you reside and sign on. You do not need to give us your entire address. I actually prefer you not. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and specify the resolution you are referring to in your question or comment. This is not a dialogue between the speaker and the board. All comments will be taken at once, and when the public comments are complete, the board president or district administration will respond as best they can. During the public portion of the meeting for other business, the same procedure will apply. The floor is open. Is there anything on Google Docs? No.
I do have questions
Oh,
here
fantastic.
for comments. Okay, comments, I'll read only the comments that relate to agenda items. So, first comment, Sheena Abraham, Fairlawn, a comment regarding the calendar. I understand that multiple religious holidays need to be accounted for. However, we are ending school very late in the proposed calendar, usually when camps are already starting. I propose the following. School should start on September 3rd, and we could do educational content in school for Juneteenth. So that would not be a day off, but it would still respect the significance of the day. Then we can end the school year on June 20th, and everybody will be ready for camps on June 23rd. Please consider this, as it really does make a lot of sense. The next comment is related to the calendar. Robin Feynman, Fairlawn. I write to express my concern over the late finish to the school year under the proposed calendar. The majority of summer camps, including the camp my kindergartner attends and the camp where my high schooler works, start the last week of June, since most schools have ended for the year by then. High schoolers working at summer camps will either not be able to work for a camp or will have to start later in the summer, losing a chance at compensation when they are already too few work options for them. And parents paying for day camp, which is a critical source of childcare during the summer, will either have to pay for that week of camp with unused days, or will have to find other arrangements for childcare for that week. Most camps require enrollment by weeks, long sessions, and do not accommodate singular days. I ask that you can reconsider the other days off on the proposed calendar and instead end school the week prior, as has been the practice. The next comment, Monica Mallon, Fairlawn, New Jersey. The only comment there is 2024-2025 school calendar. Next comment, Tracy Shaud, S-H-A-U-D, Fairlawn. School should start on September 3rd, do away with the Tuesday after Memorial Day, extend winter break, and have the kids go back to school on January 6th. The holidays are so rushed, the extra family time would be amazing. The next comment is Pradeep A. No address given. Why are the Christmas holidays limited to only 1 week? Families that are traveling south to visit families don't get to stay long for Christmas and holiday break. Travel for a day and return for 1 day. Southern states do more holidays during November and December, around 2 weeks just for Christmas. Also, Thanksgiving is only 2-day holiday, while schools in the South do a week. There is no point in having 2-day breaks in February. It's not enough to travel and is also not helpful to keep kids indoors during winter. No leaves for fall break. The schedule is peppered with holidays, but no meaningful break. That's it in relation to the agenda items.
Okay. So the floor is closed. And I will open up public comment. Dr. Bertolini.
Public or?
I'm sorry, board comments, Dr. Bertolini. It's a good thing the sound's not working.
The sound's back.
Oh,
on.
good.
It's back on.
Okay,
Darn.
thank you, Judy. Based on some of the comments from the public that are not here, you can see that the calendar is, there are a lot of different people who have different views on the calendar, from weeks off at Christmas to different holidays and camps at the end of the year. I do appreciate camps at the end of the year, but in the schools that I've worked at, sometimes students can get out early to work the camps. They don't have to go the last 2 days of school. So that's an option for any parent that has a child that's either working a camp or attending a camp. But I do appreciate this year that the calendar does respect our diversity, and there are holidays for every religion. That's a large number of people in our district, and for Martin Luther King Day and Juneteenth. So I do appreciate the calendar this year. I guess we could go to school on September 3rd, but that's something that Dr. Dionisio could explain why we're not using that day. But I do appreciate the fact that we do respect all the diversity in Fair Lawn, and I think this is the first time we actually do it, so I'm very happy with this calendar. Thank you, Joe.
Okay, anyone else? Ms. Sedalovich.
So I looked at a calendar and I looked at it as if a parent of a kindergarten student, because my daughter's gonna be in the school system. And looking at it, there's October 21st, November 27th, and March 24th is all half-a-days, which in addition, we have 4 additional half-a-days on random time, not holidays. So we have parent conferences. I understand parent conferences are essential, and I believe in parent conferences. But the October 21st, November 27th, and March 24th creates a huge problems for parents to pick up their children. And you might wonder, let me just ask someone in the classroom to pick up my child. The problem is you need to have a car seat until 8 years old to pick up my child. So I have to find a parent that's willing to pick up my child, that lives nearby, that's willing to walk my child, which creates a lot of problems for a lot of parents, not just me. There's single mothers, single fathers, and most people say, well, ask the grandparents. The grandparents can help you with that. The problem is not everybody has grandparents. Some grandparents are sick, some grandparents are deceased. And what are you supposed to do with that? Take a day off? And to some people, taking a day off is a big deal, putting food on the table to your child or not. So some people have those days off and some people don't. And I think, here's my proposal. We end school, take away June 24th, a half a day, and do a professional development day on November 5th, when we have elections. I understand elections, for safety reasons, that's why we took off. But in the high school, there's no elections. And we have 1,654 students that are in our schools currently. We have about 1,000 employees. So we can do all the professional development at least 2 of the days, because October 24th and November 7th is very close to November 5th. And actually take away 2 of the half days to give parents a little bit of alleviation. Because I think to me, that's a problem. And we have 183 days of school, and we are only required to have 180 by the state. So having that half a day at the end of the year, taking a lot, it's not going to be very meaningful, but it's more meaningful to have more hours in the classroom on October 21st and November 27th, because more learning occurs during that time. So I'm hoping we can do that. Another suggestion I have is finding a way for the school district to provide childcare for elementary school kids during those half-a-days until 3 o'clock, or getting extra people to pay for somehow so that there's more childcare for them. So this is my concern. My other concern is the February break. We have Monday, Tuesday. I'm a classroom teacher. It's very hard to teach Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're already and you're out. My proposal is having that Friday off, because then you have a 4-day meaningful classroom time, and then coming back on Tuesday and having Monday off, and having again 4 meaningful days. Thank you.
Anyone else? Mr.
I also
Sindel.
want to express my satisfaction with the calendar in certain ways, especially as Ed said, in our diversity within the district, and setting aside the WALI. I believe this is the first year. There was discussion last year on that. Also, if I'm pronouncing it correct, Ed
Eid.
al-Fitr,
Eid
Eid al-Fitr, I'm sorry, and also Juneteenth. So I'm very happy that those are in the calendar. For the last, I guess, 5 minutes or so, we've been discussing this, and I implore the board, please let's have work sessions so that these discussions don't have to take place during a public meeting. All of these discussions should have taken place prior to this particular meeting. And I also want to say that in the past, we've had multiple calendars presented to us so that we could see the differentiation between them. Here we have one calendar that we're deciding on, and there's dissatisfaction from the community as well as from the board. That's something to think about. I also want to comment on board agenda items. I had a discussion with our business administrator last month regarding board agenda items that are on the agenda now that have already taken place. And there are two of them tonight, 8A1 and 8A3, that I'm going to vote no on. It's ridiculous to have a board agenda presented that's already taken place. Also, I am requesting, and I don't know if this should go now or at the end, but I'll start it now. I have asked this for the past few months. I am requesting a short blurb on all new hirees that are certified or certified, as we used to get in prior years, indicating their past employment and indicating the number of past years that they've been employed. We are now placing people on this agenda on step 6 and on step 13. I want to know the justification why they're not starting on step 1. So can we please, in the future, have a blurb on all new hirees indicating their past employment? And I'd really like to know now, is there a possibility for this next month, or am I going to continue asking next month for the same thing that I've asked for the last 2 months? Is the board in favor of this, or the board doesn't care about this?
I'm not concerned.
I'm sorry?
We're not having
No,
discussion here. Are you
that's,
finished?
no, nope.
Okay.
I also want to thank my neighbors, Yola and Arthur, and I always mispronounce their name incorrectly, Zysko, so I'll spell it Tyszko, for creating a scholarship fund in Peter's memory. By doing this, they're fulfilling a way to support the students with their academic pursuits in the years to come, and it's also a very wonderful way in order to perpetuate Peter's memory. So I want to thank the family once again. And that's it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Ms. Brown?
I also wanted to echo what Mark and Ed had said about the calendar. I love how diversified it is, and all-encompassing of the constituents in our town. And I had a clarifying question for it too. Is there a way, since we have, like Mark said, this is the first time that we're kind of seeing the calendar, and I've heard from a lot of people in the community, and obviously, you know, we've heard from people here on the Google form. Is there a way that we can table the approval of the calendar until a future meeting, or do we have to vote on it tonight? So that was just my question.
Anyone
Just-
else?
Can I? Okay.
Does anybody else have any questions?
Just a quick comment.
Mr. Vanta?
I don't have a problem with calendar. We go through this every year for the past 25 years. And if we change it to the way Rita wants it, the way Mark wants it, the way Gene wants it, there'll be 10 other people that'll want to change it to something else. So, I'm not picking on you, I'm just saying.
No, but.
Okay, we're not having any cross conversation.
No, she's giving me a look, so.
Mr. Vanta, please
Okay,
continue.
I will continue. The calendar, if we wait another month, we'll have issues there because people are planning vacations, people are planning trips, people are planning family affairs. So granted, there's a few people that are not happy with it. But no matter what calendar we propose, there's gonna be people that are not happy with it. I'm perfectly fine with this, we've got all the holidays in there, and I'm all for it.
Does anybody have any other questions?
The whole side.
This year. Tom?
I would like to make a motion to table the district calendar, so there's some time to look it over and put it on next month's agenda.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
I think we had
I respect our administration. I think she makes a valid point. No one's gonna be happy with everything in the calendar. I think the important part of the calendar is that we respect the diversity of our district. And it's there. I don't know how I would vote differently if we did all these different things. So I do not plan on voting yes on the extension.
Ms. Pavelovich?
So, several parents said that they wanted schools to end early. So one day, the 24th and September 3rd, we can discuss if we can actually do it. Another thing is, these half-a-days, it's not like I'm asking for radical changes, but a lot of parents have trouble picking up their kid. I understand majority of our board doesn't have kids and that, oh, it looks good, but picking up random times to pick up your child is impossible.
I'm just gonna ask you to hold on a second. Guys, do you wanna come in? There is some standing room over here. I'd love to have everyone participate and hear what the discussion is about.
I'm about to say it. Bless you.
Thank you.
Ms. Pavelovich, continue.
Having the week off, the 24th, the 25th, having those, it has been, I've been on the board for 3 years, and parents have been saying this for the past 3 years. So it's not been like, oh, we just heard it for the first time. Every year, parents have asked, came up to the podiums and asked, can we not have that last week of school? So it's been a concern for years, and I was hoping that we can address it and can change it. I understand if you don't wanna table it for next year, maybe we can discuss it and change it at the current meeting right now so that at least a little bit of the concerns are addressed, so that everybody feels that they have, and therefore we can approve it tonight. But if maybe Mr. Ducey could speak about it, and maybe we can discuss the changes now as a board, and then just change it and put it on the agenda and keep it, well, I'd vote on it tonight if that's a problem, so it doesn't happen next week. But I truly believe these half-a-days, random half-a-days are a big stressor for parents. Because as a parent myself, I would have to take days off. And that's 3 extra days that I have to take off just to watch my child. And it's only 2 hours of the professional development they're getting. It's not like it's like hours upon hours. Thank you.
I respect what you said, Jan. And I'm going to vote yes more than likely for this calendar, because time is of the essence. I understand that as well. But if you remember last year, we laughed at how many revisions we had, that we went through the alphabet up until I think M. I'm telling you, we cannot go month to month without having a work session. It's ridiculous. The council has it, this board should have it.
Mark, I hear you. I'm going to put a pin in that because this conversation right now is currently in regards to
Thank
the
you.
motion on the floor.
Thank you.
Does anybody have anything in regards to the specific motion on the floor of tabling the calendar? Who has not spoken yet? Okay. Dr. Dionisio.
I do. So I'd like to thank the board for opining on the calendar. Appreciate the perspective, value your opinion. So I've heard from members of our community in regards to the issues with the calendar, and I echo the sentiments that are shared here. And I also recognize that there is no perfect calendar. I think we all know that. We're trying to develop a calendar that is communicated as early as possible to our community so plans can be made and arrangements can be made to address some of these challenges. So the longer we provide families with time to plan for these half-days, that's why it's a prudent decision to vote on this tonight. One of the things that I would also like to do is present the board with the calendar for next year. So I already have a draft calendar to be able to move forward to the board, so that way we're 2 years ahead and parents can plan accordingly. Because I think that's really the issue that's always going to be on the table for folks, right? So to be able to communicate as proactively and effectively as we can. This calendar, in large part, is very similar if you put it side by side with prior year's calendars. So I took the last 6 years' calendars, created a draft, took feedback, shared it with about 50 of our administrators, supervisors, and teachers here in the district, and then got the pulse on some members of the community to get a sense of, is it a fair and balanced calendar to address our needs and to be sensitive to the diversity of our community, as we've heard tonight. I believe this calendar does that. It accomplishes that. As far as the professional development goes, we've had 3 half-days of professional development for a number of years. What we've actually done is we've shifted that professional development, those half-days, in October, January, and March, from the middle of the week to a Monday, for 2 reasons. Number one, the middle of the week, the feedback we received is that's really cumbersome and difficult for parents to have a half-day there. So that was reason number one. Reason number two, we have faculty and department meetings on Mondays. So now what we've just done is we've extended professional development by an additional hour while still having a school day, counting as one of our school days towards that 180 days. This calendar has 3 snow days built in, so it has 183 student days and 186 staff member days. Those staff member days you'll see that are noted starting in August of each year. There was a lot of thought and consideration, as you can imagine, a lot of variation from the calendars and trying to weigh out all of the options. Specifically being sensitive to Juneteenth and the timing of it, and really weighing out whether or not you could really do something meaningful on one of the last days of school, posed a lot of hardship. The other thing that posed a hardship is shifting the days and when we start the school year and when we graduate. And graduating on a Friday is a very, very difficult thing to do, especially at sundown on the Friday, and project graduation even for our seniors. We then had the graduation on a Monday, which also poses some challenges because planning ahead and navigating the rehearsal for graduation with 430 seniors on both a Friday and a Monday posed a lot of logistical challenges internally. That's why for next year, the start of the school year is not the day after Labor Day, but it's the Wednesday. A lot of this really hinges upon, when you build a calendar, around where the holidays fall. So if Diwali or Eid al-Fitr or Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or Juneteenth fall on a weekend, that will really swing the calendar one way or the other. We have a draft calendar for next year. We have considered Election Day as well, even for a PD day. That doesn't really help us with the graduation date and the end of the year. And also at the same time, if we're stating that safety is a priority for our students, it's also a priority for our staff, and to navigate PD moving around one building with so many people poses its own logistical challenges for that day as we build a schedule, which is different than building a school schedule for our students where we have that over the course of an entire year. Just to note, I heard some of the comments. It could just be because, we spend so much time looking and developing this calendar, but the 3 days that are built into this calendar that are noted in blue on the key, April 21st, May 23rd, and May 27th, those are the give back days for snow days. So that's where those days are built in there. So I'll leave it to the board I hope that answers maybe some of the questions, but it's a big puzzle, as many of you know, and it sounds like there's a lot of similar feedback that we've heard tonight that we've heard in prior years. So I hope that's helpful.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any other comments? Okay, I just want to thank you and your administrative team because this is the first calendar that I have seen that provides our half-days for conferences prior to like September. And speaking on behalf of the elementary PTAs, that really gives us some solace in planning our fundraisers and our fourth grade fundraisers because we utilize those as huge opportunities for like pizza fundraisers. And so to know that ahead of time and not be worried that that might not be available really takes a little bit of heat off of many of our fourth grade committees who are fundraising for our fourth grade moving up ceremonies. So with that, we do have a motion on the floor, and Ms. Beatty, can you please call the roll? What we are voting on
Yeah, go over that.
at this point in time is the motion on the floor is to table the calendar until the next meeting. And that would be a regularly scheduled meeting, not our meeting
Budget
on the
meetings.
7th. It would be the
14th.
meeting on the 14th. A vote of yes is to table. A vote of no is to keep it on the agenda for approval.
Mr. Valdowski is absent. Mr. Banta?
No.
Ms. Dr. Bertolini?
No.
Ms. Brown?
Yes.
Ms. Favolovich?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
No.
Ms. Sherman?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
No.
We have 4 nays.
Motion fails.
So please note that 4A, which is our calendar for tonight's agenda, will be voted on tonight. With that, I'm going to defer back to, shoot, I believe,
We are now at the approval of the calendar.
Yeah.
no,
4A.
because no, hold on. So I do apologize, we didn't get some of those questions that, if we have answers to answer, so,
I don't know if the board comments, did they finish them?
no, I'm trying to figure, I don't recall, I think,
On
I
the-
had asked a question about
Yeah.
the blurb.
I'm sorry, guys. My sincere apologies. Hold on one second. We asked about the blurbs, and then Ms. Favolovich, you had asked about the calendar.
But are we going second time around?
Your time didn't end.
Oh, we're allowed to speak one more, usually you speak allowed to
Two
speak
times.
2 times.
Right, but you didn't, your time didn't run out.
You still on the first time?
No, you went already. Do you have something else to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Did anybody else, need to finish their comments?
Yes.
You never finished.
I don't think I started.
Okay, go ahead, Jean.
Okay, so I just wanted to thank you for, explaining the reasoning and the process behind the calendar. I think it gave, a lot of us a better picture of the thought process and the stuff, and the time that went into it, so I appreciate that, thank you. And I appreciate your time, and everybody else's time on the calendars.
You're welcome.
Anybody have any comments or questions for their first time around? Okay, great. Ms. Favolovich.
Just to know, 12K, if you're taking money from the reserves, I assume this was discussed in the finance committee, but unfortunately, we never got minutes from the finance committee. And we've been discussing that if you don't get the minutes, we don't put it on the agenda. That's what we discussed. And they're still doing it. So I'd like to know, can we please, if something is discussed that will be on the agenda, can we please have the minutes to the agenda so we can be more informed because if you ask me, which school or why we're getting motorized shades, I wouldn't be able to tell you, no idea. because we never discussed it, I was never informed that anything was discussed. I assume it was finance committee, but that's just an assumption.
Yes, so that's all part of the small budget meetings.
We never got minutes from it.
The minutes are actually in the shared Google Doc.
Yeah, they went
That
out.
has the
Yeah, they went out.
presentations all hyperlinked that through the Google Drive. So that's all been provided to the Board of Education. And I could speak specifically to, I think you said resolution
12K.
12K. So this is a transfer of, these are funds in order to be able to get ahead of the work that was discussed through the small budget meetings with the committees last week. And in an effort to be able to start to schedule the summer work and to get on the docket with the contractors and get priority, we would need to be able to take the funding that we already currently have and to be able to earmark it and allocate it with a board resolution that we would need, so that way the administration can proceed with that work and be able to meet the tight timelines of the summer work this summer, and to secure those contractors to get the work done.
No, I'm telling you.
Yeah, Mr. Spindell did pose a question on having short blurbs for all of our new hires. I'm just going to respond to that and let you know that, we will have an answer. I will ensure that our administration looks into that for you. We will have an answer for you by the next board meeting. Okay?
The other question they asked was work sessions.
Work sessions. Okay. Does anybody else have any comments? Okay, the floor is closed. We are moving into our agendas. Items. Can I have a motion for,
Point of order, I don't think we got the answer to the work session question.
It's gonna be next month, you tell me?
I'm going with, by next month's meeting, you will have a response.
Okay, thank you.
The blurbs and the.
Yep.
Okay, I only got the one.
No worries.
All right, thanks.
4A. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
So moved.
Second. I didn't use the right term.
Call the roll.
Apologize, Mark.
I'm so sorry.
Mr. Banta,
I'm over-
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Mrs. Favolovich.
Are we on 4?
Yes.
Yes.
No on 4A.
Mr. Spindell.
Yes.
Ms. Sherman.
No on for A.
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes.
Motion passes.
7A through F, H, and I. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
5?
5A.
Minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, 5A, approving the minutes. My apologies.
So moved.
No, I already did it.
Second.
No, you did, no, it's a different one.
Different one.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini.
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Mrs. Favolovich,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Ms. Sherman,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes. Can I get a motion for 7A through F, H, and I, Ms.
Six.
Brown?
Six.
I think 6 might be information.
6 is information.
Oh.
Yes, 6 is information.
Again, can I have a motion for 7A through F,
So moved.
H, and I?
Second. Gina Jean.
Jean Square.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini,
Yes.
Mrs. Brown,
Yes.
Mrs. Favolovich.
This is 7?
This
No,
is 7, yes.
Abstain on 7H and 7I.
7H and 7I. Okay. All others, yes? Mr. Spindell,
Yes.
Mrs. Sherman,
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes. Can I get a motion for 8A, B, and D?
So moved.
Second.
Moving right along. Consent agenda, here we come.
Mr. Banta,
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Mrs. Favolovich,
Yes.
Mr. Spindell,
No on 8A1, no on 8A3, yes on all the others.
Jean Brown has to abstain on,
Oh, shoot, that's right.
Oh, we both did.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
on, 8, 8A11 and 8A23 as well. And Dr.
Just sort of,
Bertolini.
23?
23.
883.
I'm
883, my, school board,
8A3.
the one that Mark voted no on.
Okay. Okay. And then Ms. Sherman.
I'm gonna abstain on 8A23 and vote yes for the rest.
Okay. And Mrs. Mahan.
Yes to all, abstaining on 8A8 and 8A23.
Okay.
Can I have a motion for 9A through F?
So moved.
Second?
Please call the roll.
Mr. Banta.
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Mrs. Favolovich.
Yeah.
Mr. Spindell.
Yes.
Ms. Sherman.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes. Can I have a motion for 10A through C?
So moved.
Not anymore.
Second?
Not anymore.
Can you call the roll?
Mr. Banta.
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Mrs. Favolovich.
Yes.
Mr. Spindell.
Yes.
Ms. Sherman.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes.
11 is a lot of-
Can I have a motion for 11A through L?
So moved.
Second?
Can you call the roll?
Mr. Banta.
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Mrs. Favolovich.
Yes.
Mr. Spindell.
Yes.
Ms. Sherman.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes. Can I have a motion for agenda 12A through N?
So moved.
Second.
And, yep. Mr. Banta.
Yes.
Dr. Bertolini.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Mrs. Favolovich.
Abstain on 12F and 12M.
F and M. Mr. Spindell.
Yes.
Ms. Sherman.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan.
Yes. So this is the end of our agenda items, and we are going to move into public comment. So this is the public comment on non-agenda items. Please limit your questions at this time to non-agenda items. Please provide your name and municipality in which you reside and sign in. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. This is not a dialogue between the speaker and the board. All comments will be taken at once, and when comments are complete, the board president or district administration will respond as best they can. I do realize there are a number of you, I'm sure, here for a variety of reasons. I will ask that if we have the opportunity, some of our students who have sat through this meeting are able to speak first. If any of them are here to speak. If not, the floor is yours. You're just gonna give us your name and municipality.
Hi, everybody. My name is Pashana Tolchinsky, and I live on Merlot Avenue. Is that municipality?
Municipality would be Fairlawn.
Okay.
You're good.
Sorry.
No
It's
worries.
my first time speaking here, and I'm really, really nervous. So,
Doing great.
I thank you for giving me this opportunity right now to speak. It's actually a very sensitive subject. It's a personal matter, and I speaking about something that is sort of diversity, but it's in reverse. So I have 3 daughters, and one of my daughters currently goes to TJ Middle School, and we're very happy with the school, and Mr. Beaver and everybody, God bless them, they're wonderful. We have been in Fairlawn for a while already, so right now, my daughter actually, I don't want to name names specifically, but she's been having an issue with bullying due to her being pale skinned. She's blonde and she's blue eyed, and she has been bullied for being white and numerous times. And she's friends with a lot of different people, girls and boys of all sorts of backgrounds, and it's really hurtful because one of her friends had called her a Nazi, and I haven't actually brought this matter to Mr. Weaver or Mr. Shansky because previously, like, we had minor bullying issues, and I have been directed to just fill out a form for HIB, and, then they open up an investigation, and they go to counseling, things like that. So this is not something that I want to do because I don't want to put these kids in a position where a HIB is filed against them. I feel that as a community, we kind of need to be more inclusive of everybody. This is why my daughter has been called a Nazi specifically due to the Israel-Palestine conflict because we're Ashkenazi Jew, and she, she has a friend who's Palestinian, which is really interesting because her Palestinian friend actually stuck up for her and said that, Nella is accepting of everybody, but the other girls had said that, how does Nella feel? Because Israelis are killing innocent Palestinian children, and it's really emotional. So I think it would benefit everybody if, like you guys said, we need diversity and our kids are more educated on the conflicts of all races, white, black, Hispanic, Palestinian, Israeli, whatever it is, and basically, if we could just bring a little bit more awareness. And I understand a lot of parents work, they don't really speak about these things to their kids, but at the same time, like, the things that these kids are saying makes me think that it's coming from home. So maybe our parents are not being all inclusive if this is something that the kids are saying. And my daughter doesn't say things like that, so I just told her to just kind of, let's try to avoid these girls and not talk about these subjects and kind of just squash the conflict. I don't know, I just want our kids to feel safe, and I want them to go to school knowing that they're accepted for who they are, regardless of their skin color, regardless of whether they're Jewish, they're not Jewish, it doesn't matter. And if we could maybe do something like an assembly for them at TJ, or like just have some sort of, because Mr. Weaver is very good with the newsletters, like he'll send out emails and he communicates with the parents. And he also mentioned the conflict before, that he prefers that the kids not speak about this, but I think maybe it's better if we do speak about this, and maybe if we do bring awareness to it, because we do have, multicultural community, and a lot of people are affected, and the fact is that we're being quiet about it, the kids are taking it the wrong way, and hatred is being spread out. So at this point, thank you so much, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
You should come back next time.
All right, so my name is Ethan Baxman, I'm a sixth grader at TJ. So, connecting to last speech, I actually have been speaking to Mr. Weaver about holding a possible assembly to speak about diversity and all-inclusive. So anyways, I have a speech here prepared, so I'm just gonna say that. All right, so, as I said, I'm Ethan Baxman, a sixth grader at TJ, and I want to share something important with you today and explain why bringing Hebrew back into our schools is important to me. Since the devastating attack on October 7th, my family and I have faced several attacks that no one should have to accept, especially in school. I've had several incidents where students have made hurtful, hateful, and ignorant comments about my Israeli and Jewish identity, my clothing, and my Jewish symbols. While these moments have been tough, they've also made me more determined. I've been working to raise awareness and fight the hate and ignorance because silence just isn't an option. I'm the youngest in my family and the only one who doesn't speak Hebrew fluently. This connection to my heritage is something I really need to strengthen now more than at any other time in my life. But more than that, it's a symbol. Offering Hebrew as a world language here in Fairlawn isn't just an educational choice. It's a statement. It tells every student and every resident that our identities are worth understanding and respecting and are not okay to attack, ridicule, or hate. We need the district's support to fight anti-Semitism effectively. Our schools must be safe, respectful, and inclusive for everyone, regardless of their identity. Somehow this does not apply to Israelis or Jews anymore, and it must be rectified. Reintroducing Hebrew to our curriculum sends a clear message. We stand together against hatred and ignorance. We want to make sure every student feels included and safe. It's a way to show the strength in our our diversity. I want to believe in Fairlawn's ability to rise above prejudice and to make Israeli and Jewish students feel accepted and included rather than isolated. I ask that you make sure our education system reflects these values. I would like Fairlawn to be a place where every heritage, including my own, is a source of pride like it has been for many years before. Thanks for considering this change.
My name is Dr. Adi Baxman, and I'm from Fairlawn. Good evening. My name is Dr. Adi Baxman, and I've called Fairlawn my home for the past 22 years. Throughout these years, I've often been the voice of raising concerns about instances of anti-Semitism, bias, and hate within our community. But nothing could have prepared me for the events of October 7th, a day that shattered the world for me and my family, my friends, and my people. My brother and cousin were called to defend the country, and my stepdaughter experienced unimaginable horror as the entire base she was in was slaughtered and her friends were brutally murdered. In the aftermath, what shocked me even further was the wave of hate, ignorance, and denial that seemed to sweep through our nation and community. My family faced direct attacks, even here in New Jersey. My children have been bullied, cursed at, and subjected to anti-Semitic abuse in school. Despite filing numerous reports and engaging in countless discussions with school personnel, I've been sometimes met with a complete lack of understanding that has left me baffled. I've stood before you in the past, warning of the rising tide of anti-Semitism in our schools, yet I never envisioned that I would have to stand here again in the wake of October 7th to speak about how this wave of hate has not only intensified, but has become a disturbingly accepted reality. I was here in September when it was agreed that we would perform a survey, and the board was waiting for the new superintendent to start. Welcome. I'm here today to follow up on that initiative of reintroducing Hebrew to our world language program. Hebrew is more than just a language. It encapsulates 3,000 years of tradition, heritage, and history, encompassing everything from the sacred text of the Bible to contemporary rap music. It is a testament to resilience, having been revived and embraced as the living, vibrant language of a people whose experiences are not at all different than our own. For many years, Hebrew was taught in Fairlawn schools, acknowledging the significant Jewish and Israeli population within our town, a population that has only grown. To reintroduce Hebrew into our curriculum is to make a clear statement. We are an integral, contributing, and valued part of this community. It offers our children the sense of acceptance and inclusion that they recently lost, while providing all students the opportunity to explore something both ancient and new. It is an invitation to embark on a journey through thousands of years of history, offering powerful tool against forces of hate and ignorance through learning and education. I've raised 3 children in Fairlawn, watching them grow and navigate the challenges and joys of our community. I stand here today asking that we make our town feel like home again for every child and every family. Please bring Hebrew back to Fairlawn schools. Thank you.
Good evening. My name's Leo Avedon. I'm a resident of Fairlawn and a sophomore at Fairlawn High School. As an American Jew, I do not have a lot of knowledge of Hebrew. For me, learning Hebrew would allow me to better connect, not just with my heritage, but also with many friends and community members who speak Hebrew. Hebrew has previously been offered at Fairlawn High School, and I believe that it would be very valuable to offer it again, especially given Fairlawn's large Jewish and Israeli community. It would provide an opportunity for non-Hebrew speaking Jews like me, and for people who are interested in learning more about Hebrew and Jewish culture, to learn this language, which is very important in our local community and in the business and tech world. I would highly encourage the board to offer Hebrew in Fairlawn schools, and I'm sure that this addition would make me and other Jewish students feel more accepted and valued in our community. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Naor Meir. I'm a Fairlawn resident. I'm father of two boys. They're different from each other. One is in the junior in high school. His name is Roy. Roy never felt very much or didn't care much about his heritage. For example, he did not want to do anything for his birthday or anything like that. But 2 months ago or something like that, around end of October or November, he finally came to us and asked for Star of David necklace to wear. This is not how I wanted him to connect to his heritage. I wanted him to connect to his heritage through language, through community, through the shared history. My younger son, Aviv, is here. He's in the middle school, 8th grade. He's very much all about heritage, family, community, friends, and all of that. He also loves hoodies, as you can see. He has hoodies from Nesa, from Eitanim, from Sofim, which are programs for children's, Israeli, Hebrew children, as well as lacrosse and Muay Thai and others. And one day he came to us and asked if that would be okay to go to school with his Sofim hoodie. Will it be safe for him to do that? Because it has Hebrew on it. So that's wanted to add more to how the kids feel today in today's school. And we already spoke about how important it will be to add Hebrew and how it will help them to feel safer in this environment. In addition to that, maybe it's a little different. Hebrew is not only about that. We live in the tri-state area, and there is a very large community of Jewish and Israeli in this area. A lot of high-tech, a lot of entrepreneurs in high-tech, in medical, in fintech. And we meet together every month. We connect, we speak to each other, we make connections, and we advance the technology and advance the environment here. I work as a software solution architect. I work in New York City. And last month I've been working on solution envisioning for New York City 3D underground program or system. In the last month, I have spoken to 3 different CEOs of Israeli startup companies, some from here, some from Texas, Austin, some from London and Israel in this area. So this is an important language that helps us to connect to each other, help us to advance this nation, the technology, make this world is better. And it's a very, very useful tool for every graduate in Fairlawn to use in this area. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Avi Lev, I'm from Fairlawn. I have 2 kids, they don't attend TJ across the street from our house. And the reason is, we're not confident in the schools. My wife and I choose to spend tens of thousands of dollars every year to send them to a private school. And the reason is, we're worried about the content in the schools, the hate crimes, the systemic lack of concern for the things that go on in the schools. I don't know if the board is aware of what happens, the images that are written on bathroom walls, the intimidation of students. There is a systemic problem. And the community here that does send their kids to private schools, we see the deafening silence of the Board of Education. You have a chance now to improve it. It's been ongoing and increasing every single year. And there will be a point where the community here will take action. And the action will be the same as what's happened in other communities. Look to Lakewood, look to Monroe, New York, where the budgets of the Board of Education have been decimated. They've been diverted to where parents wanted the money to go, to other schools, charter schools, private schools. Those mechanisms can be brought here. But you can prevent that if you repair the problems that are in the schools. There should be zero tolerance for hate in the schools. When students strike at others with anti-Semitism or any type of hate towards any group, those students don't belong in that school. And to prevent that, there should be a better, more meaningful way to educate the students. Okay? I know it's not easy. I realize it can be a daunting task. But these are the things that can instill real values into the students, to wash away the mindless things that they see on social media or in the news, and really show them that the differences amongst peoples really aren't differences and we're all the same at the end of the day. Okay? The hatred has to stop, the problems, the ancillary subject matters that are taught in schools. The schools need to focus on the most important things. As we saw in the presentation earlier, some students are challenged with these exams that are needed, and it's sad. You know, this is the rest of the life we're talking about. Every kid should be able to pass those tests with flying colors, okay? And I know that there's good teachers here. I know there's good people in the BOE here, but there are problems. Take action. It's time to really get more focused on what's really important. Reading, writing, arithmetic, students learning to belong together, to behave together, to really accept one another and eliminate the problems. If you let it fester, and it has for a long time, people will take action, okay? And those are serious consequences for the board, for the financial tax ramifications, whatever way you want to call it. Please fix these problems. Thank you.
Mel Dershauer, Fair Lawn president. So I'm gonna go off topic if that's okay. I just wanna thank everybody here who supported the Place Dinner Dance in one way or another. I know, you know, Dr. Bertolini is never gonna miss a dinner dance again because he has such a great time.
I didn't win anything. I didn't win one prize.
Next year.
All right, thank you.
All right.
I know Ronnie won, but,
You know,
he
you
should
should have
win, I guess.
stolen his. All right, so I want to thank everybody that supported in one way or another. It was a great event. You know, Place enjoys putting all of that attention on the one person that we shine a light on for that day, which was Lori Sissio this year, speech and language pathologist in Forest School. Lori is amazing. Everyone spoke very highly of her, everything very well deserved. I know some members of the Place Board have had their children go through Forest, or just Christine, really, so it's just her. But so, and I know from Christine how amazing she was for her child. And many other parents in district that have complimented her professional abilities. So I thank you for that, for the dinner dance. And then second thing is I want to invite you all, February 29th, to wear your stripes and support Rare Disease Day. I'm gonna be speaking to administration about some stuff that we have in the works for that, for the district. But, you know, just so you guys are aware, that's the day that we celebrate, you know, 600 million people worldwide that have a rare disease. And then my third thing, just to put on your calendar again, I am meeting with some people at the high school tomorrow about Unplugged for Autism, so I'm gonna give you the notice now. Save the date, March, when is it? Hold on. Yep, March 26th is gonna be Unplugged. It's a great show. Put it on your calendar. I know some of you have already attended. Those who haven't, you're missing out, so please come. The high school kids, bless you. The high school kids put on an amazing show along with the staff. And that's pretty much where I'm at, so. Are we doing this or not?
There's no form up there?
No, There is, but it's empty, so put it.
Yes, please.
Where those people go.
See, this was not my first time. That's why I knew that. Nobody told you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Isabella Sherbatova. I've been a resident of Fairlawn since 1998. I'm a mom of 3 kids, the oldest being in 6th grade at TJ. And since the events of October 7th, I'm Israeli. Since the October 7th events, it's been a hard time for all of us. I have family that serves, cousins, and friends. And the kids have been exposed, obviously, to parents who are heightened, myself included. And in this time, they have asked, is it okay if I wear my Star of David? Is it okay if I say that I'm of Israeli heritage? Questions that I've answered with, yes, don't be scared, be who you are, wear your Star of David. At the same time, they've also felt a heightened need to be Israeli, to feel like their identity is respected and that they also belong. So my kids have been taking up Duolingo and trying to, learn Hebrew because my husband doesn't speak Hebrew. So we weren't really able to keep the language besides me occasionally yelling. So, both of them, the 2 older ones, the 12-year-old and the 9-year-old, are sitting on Duolingo and asking, well, how come this is not offered at school? We have the option for French, Spanish, and Chinese, but how come Hebrew is not offered? And the kids are asking this. There's so many Israelis, they have Israeli friends. So, considering the fact that October 7th happened, considering everything that they experienced, that I'm not gonna highlight, other parents highlighted enough, that there has been bullying, there has been fear on the kids' part to be who they are. I think it would be a wonderful thing if we are able to introduce Hebrew to solidify to these children that they are accepted, that their identity is respected. In addition to the fact that because there are so many people here and friends have friends, Israeli kids interact with non-Israeli kids, that it's an opportunity for children of all backgrounds to learn something new and so ancient. That's it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ariel Rotem. I'm a sophomore in Fairlawn High School, and I'm a proficient speaker of Hebrew. So as all of my friends here have been speaking about anti-Semitism, that's also greatly affected me in school. But I also want to focus on why Hebrew is important to add to the curriculum outside of anti-Semitism. First, Israeli companies are the most represented on NASDAQ, following only the US, China, and Canada. Knowing Hebrew will greatly enhance science and technological professional opportunities and career for all Fairlawn High School alumni. As most people here know, Israel is known as the startup nation. Major companies like Google, Amazon, Alibaba, Apple, Intel, Microsoft, and Meta all have R&D facilities in Israel. The average salary of a Hebrew-speaking employee of these Fortune 500 companies is $200,000. The benefits of Hebrew to Fairlawn students make Fairlawn High School alumni have a larger marketability in global marketplace, gives us higher paying jobs, and it also helps a lot of individuals interested in startups, which is me and a lot of my peers in school, as Israel has great help in starting a startup, like almost all of the peers in Fairlawn High School. Over 240 colleges and every single Ivy League college has Hebrew as part of their program. Now that's a really important fact when we want to be in the top schools as Fairlawn, and if you see all these top colleges also have Hebrew, I feel like we should also incorporate that. Now, we all know Fairlawn has a really high population of Jewish American and Jewish Russians. I'm friends with a lot of people, and everyone always asks me things about Hebrew, Hebrew culture, Israeli culture. There are many Jewish Russians that don't necessarily have Israeli background but are super interested in the Israeli culture and the Hebrew language that aren't able to learn it at home because their parents are from Russian descent. Also, Hebrew is 3,000 years old. It's a super ancient language. The Bible was written in Hebrew. And there's very famous science and literature that comes from Hebrew language. So, as a lot of people here know, North Valley Demarest recently incorporated Hebrew as part of their World Language Program. Now, North Valley Demarest is ranked 16 in New Jersey schools, according to usnews.com, while Fairlawn is only ranked 75. I believe that if we add Hebrew to our school system, we can greatly increase that number. So also, it's very common for public schools in our region to reflect the demographics of their student bodies. For example, Patterson has a high population of Muslim people. That's why Patterson offers Arabic as one of their languages. Fort Lee offers Korean. North Valley Demarest now offers Hebrew. In Fairlawn, there's an estimate of 40% of Jews. That's 1 in every 3 households. It has the largest Israeli American community in Bergen, which really shows the importance of Hebrew to the Fairlawn community. Outside of the Jewish population, there are a ton of Fairlawn students that are super interested in Israel and Hebrew culture. I get asked, not just by my Jewish friends, but a lot of Indian and Chinese about, let's say, the war going on right now, about the cultures, the traditions. I get asked a lot about Yom Kippur, where we have to fast, and they go like, shocking, wow, you fast for 24 hours. A lot of these people, they never know these things, which are like basic Jewish traditions that are important for every culture to know. Just like I'm from Jewish descent, I know a lot about Christian, Arabic, and Hindu. So living in the tri-state area, there's no doubt that Hebrew is used in the professional marketplace. In New York, so many Israelis, so many Hebrew, Philadelphia, and obviously New Jersey. Now I want to focus on the anti-Semitism that has affected me in my Fairlawn schools.
Can I just stop you for tell me your name?
Harvel Rotem.
Harvel. Right, okay. Is everyone okay if I have Harvel?
Harvel.
Continue. He has lapsed that 3 minutes. If everyone's comfortable, I'd like to allow you to finish.
Thank you. So in Fairlawn, I have encountered large acts of anti-Semitism, which include swastikas and very hurtful curse language. To me, in bathrooms, almost every day, everywhere I go, I see some forms of anti-Semitism. Learning Hebrew also includes learning Jewish history. Just like I'm taking Spanish, I learn about Mardi Gras. And in French, they learn about the French culture. I believe that if we incorporate Hebrew as part of a language, students will be able to learn more about the Jewish history and the Jewish culture. Like, I have some examples. Purim is a very, very famous Jewish holiday that's a lot of fun. We dress up, we make hamantaschen, oznei Haman, and it's a very fun way to incorporate some into Fairlawn, as we have a lot of Jewish Israeli speakers. Also, the Holocaust. The Holocaust is one of the most important events of our timeline. Fairlawn, from what I've encountered, only touches that freshman year in modern world history, and only after that, for one period in our history classes, only once a year. Now, for me, I come from Jewish descent, I know all about the Holocaust, but there are so many people that don't, and I believe that one period, 1 year, is not enough. I believe that if we incorporate Hebrew, we can have a large majority of that class focused also on Holocaust, the importance of it, and why it won't happen again. I feel like Fairlawn is failing at that job as we continue to see large hints of anti-Semitism, which is exactly how the Holocaust started. So for me, I love Fairlawn. I've been living here my whole life, and I'm like a proud member of Fairlawn, proud member of the schools. But after October 7th, really just don't feel fully safe, don't feel welcome like I did before October 7th, obviously due to anti-Semitism. I believe that adding Hebrew will help me and all the Jewish population in Fairlawn to feel more welcome, to feel safer, for more people to learn about the Jewish culture, to stop anti-Semitism, and to learn Hebrew. So, thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Amira Yusupov. I'm also living in Fairlawn. It's my 3rd year actually, so I'm new here. excited to be here. I'm a mother of 3 little children, 4, 3, and 1, and very excited for next year to start in Boarding Point actually. And for my job, I work in New York. I work for Charter Network where we teach Hebrew. It's called Hebrew Public. We teach Hebrew to diverse schools. It's a public charter school, and we currently have 4 schools that are managed directly by us, plus 7 more that are around the nation. And I'm the director of the world language of Hebrew and Israel Studies, where we know that language and culture, they go together. And one of the things that I would want to see my kids growing up into, because they don't live in New York, so I cannot take them to the schools that I work for, but for them to be exposed and learn Hebrew from early, I'm not even talking about middle and high, but I'm talking about even elementary schools. We do know that there are some schools that offer it. I'm not really aware of this area. The things that I see in the charter schools that I work for are amazing. Our schools are diverse by design, which means we have students from any background you can think of. It's open lottery school, and the things that they're doing in Hebrew classes, we offer Hebrew daily, and they learn about the culture, they learn about the people, they learn about the, Harel here mentioned the holidays. We learn about the holiday and compare it to other holidays in the world, which is coming, as you mentioned again, Purim, how we celebrate different carnivals around the world. What do these masks mean? Meaning that the Hebrew Israeli culture is also compared to other cultures, and there's a reason why people do things. So that's my wish for my students. Beyond everything that was said here about being Jewish, I'm not going to add on that, but of course I also, it resonates with me. But my wish is for my kids to be able to be in school, to feel welcome, and also for their peers to feel that they learn and learn how to appreciate different cultures, as this is what we want to actually raise our kids as being global citizens in the world, appreciate different cultures, celebrate different cultures, doesn't matter if it's a religion or not, but just understanding a little bit more different cultures. And one way, of course, is for us to learn Hebrew, and that's my dream for my kids to have and learn Hebrew, because I'm Israeli, I speak Hebrew, my husband does not speak Hebrew, and we also speak Russian in school. What I can offer for them right now is a school that also speaks Russian, but in the public system, I would wish that one day they will have Hebrew. Thank you, everybody.
So everyone, we are edging just above our typical 30 minutes. So I'm just trying to gauge how many more people are interested in speaking, because I may have to, 2? Okay, so we have a couple more. We're gonna have to make a motion. Can I have a motion to extend?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you.
That was my
Unanimous.
That was my first time doing that. Okay, let's continue.
Vanda Prasada, Fairmont, Madam President, board members, Dr. Rui, and administrators, and our community. I've been living in town 23 years, even more. I have 2 children. One is in high school and one has graduated. You know, both of them, their best friends are Jews. Their friends, the best friend, those kids are Jews. And I've been living in here. I know everything about your culture. Now I know more about your culture than my culture. And you know, when that October 7 happened, do you know which country stand by first with Israel? India. So I'm gonna stand here first to support Hebrew. And the reason for that is just not because it's the popular opinion, is because the 40% of population of Fair Lawn is Hebrew. So it makes a lot of sense to have Hebrew in the school. There are multiple reasons, because moms who works sometime in the New York City or maybe a very long commute, and their children attend a public school, or they may be the third, fourth generation Jew who are modern, they have not transferred their Hebrew skill to their children, but they still have desire their children to learn Hebrew. So in that case, they cannot take them to the weekend school, or they cannot afford anything else. I think having a public school offer Hebrew could be a very viable option for these children to continue to learn their heritage. Being an immigrant, the first generation immigrant, I realize that how important it is. I'm thinking my third generation, my children and their children and their children, how they will pass on that heritage. So to have that one in mind, I think what our community is asking is completely appropriate and I think valid point. So I support them to have Hebrew as a world language to be included in our curriculum. Thank you.
Hello. It's my first time talking, so I'm a little bit nervous.
Take your time.
I don't think you want me to take my time.
Seems like you're doing just fine.
And I apologize for my voice. It's been 2 weeks with my kids. Anyway, my name is Orlin Musay Shalom, and I lived in Fairlawn for about 21 years. I met my husband here. I'm the mother of 4 children and that attend Fairlawn schools, one public high school, TJ, at Mills and Edison, which will be moving into Rutland in 2 years. We asked the board, you guys, to incorporate and bring back Hebrew as a language which benefit our students both, bring back Hebrew as a language which benefit our students both professionally and personally, and I will explain why. Israeli companies are most represented in modern day technology and innovations. We heard about that before. Over 200 colleges, including all Ivy League colleges, offer Hebrew programs and classes. It will be great for our students to come ready. I believe bringing back Hebrew as a language will help students comprehend the history and the origin of Jewish heritage. I believe it will decrease the anti-Semitism cases in Fairlawn schools, which we all know has been rising these past few years, and especially in the last few months. Once students are familiarized with the language, they will learn to love the culture and, of course, the classes. By integrating Hebrew into Fairlawn's language curriculum, it welcomes Jewish, non-Jewish, Hebrew speakers, and non-Hebrew speakers to feel more belonged in school and in our diverse community. We understand that there will be challenges to bring back Hebrew language, and we are ready to support in any way we can. I'm hoping you will consider what I have said, and I'm hoping to see the survey that we were hoping to see last year, but I guess, I don't know what happened to that. I'm hoping to see the survey anytime soon. And I'm hoping you can implement all of this in 2025 school year. And a short Hebrew lesson for today, Toda Rabba. It means thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Novi Yosef. I was born here in Fairlawn and I'm a 6th grader at Memorial Middle School. Our community has a significant Jewish population. Hebrew is not just a language, it is deeply intertwined with Jewish culture, religion, and history. By offering Hebrew in schools, you're providing an opportunity for Jewish students like me to connect with their heritage and identity in a meaningful way. In the last few months, the levels of anti-Semitism in our schools have been unbearable. Adding Hebrew into our curriculum would be a big step in the right direction toward making Jewish and Israeli students feel safe. Hebrew is spoken by millions of people around the world and is one of the official languages of Israel. By learning Hebrew, students gain a global perspective and development skills that can be valuable in an increasingly interconnected world. As Hebrew is an official language of Israel, proficiently in Hebrew can open up career opportunities in fields such as diplomacy, international relations, and business. It can also be an asset for students interested in pursuing Jewish studies or working in Jewish organizations. Israel is the startup nation. Israel's remarkable success in fostering a vibrant and innovative tech ecosystem, introducing Hebrew language instruction in schools, can potentially open doors for students to explore internship opportunities in Israel's tech industries.
Hi, good evening. My name is Maya Baxman-Magid. I'm a junior at Fairlawn High School, and I'm here tonight not just as a student, but as an Israeli and as a Jew. Since the attack on October 7th, where my older sister serving at the Zikin base was nearly killed, my family has been living in a state of constant worry, anxiety, grief, and fear. These events and the horrible war that followed, where both my uncles and my sister are serving in active duty, are risking their lives daily, have deeply impacted our lives in ways that most people cannot imagine. Alongside all of this, I've had to face a surge of anti-Semitism right here in our school and community. The comments, the looks, the whispers, the curses, the violence, the hateful symbols and writings, which for some reason are only okay when veered towards Jews. It's been a constant reminder that hate comes from ignorance, but ignorance can be cured with education. This is why I'm asking you today to reintroduce Hebrew as a world language in our schools. Hebrew is not just another subject, it's the language of my ancestors, a language that has survived persecution, exile, and revival for thousands of years. It's a testament to resilience, to history, and to the enduring spirit of my people. By offering Hebrew, Fairlawn has the opportunity to not only stand against the rising tide of hate and anti-Semitism, but also to embrace and celebrate the unique combination of cultures that make up our community. Bringing back Hebrew is a declaration that we as a community refuse to let ignorance fuel hatred. It's a chance for those who might not understand my heritage to learn, to grow, and to see the world with empathy and respect. I grew up here. I was born here and I've lived here my whole life. These last few months, the hate that I've seen, felt, and received has made me feel like I don't belong in my own home. I'm sure there are several others that feel the same as I do, and introducing Hebrew back into our world language program can make a difference and change that terrible feeling that many of Fairlawn's students have felt the last few months. Learning Hebrew can open doors to understanding a culture that has contributed so much to the world and yet is so often misunderstood. It can help break down the stereotypes and prejudices that feed this growing wave of anti-Semitism. It can show that we as a school and a community are committed to inclusion, to understanding, and to respect. So I ask you, please bring Hebrew back to our schools. Let's give every student the opportunity to learn not just a language, but the stories, the history, and the values it carries. Thank you.
Okay, I did not plan on speaking at all. Whew, but hearing different things.
Tell us your
that
name.
People, I'm sorry, Crystal? Crystal, yeah. I grew up here. I went to Forest, I went to Middens, I went to TJ, and I went to Fairmont High. Not once did I fear to say that I'm Jewish and that I'm Israeli. It makes no sense to me that in September, my daughter will come home to me and tell me that a Palestinian girl will say to her, hate you? I will love to hate you.
I was baffled. I didn't even know how to respond to that. I didn't expect that. And again, this was in September, so of course I didn't even think about what's happening. I didn't expect to see a classmate here. Personally, I did not endure any anti-Semitism whatsoever. Yes, did we see swastikas here and there that had absolutely nothing to do with Fair Lawn? Yes. But it makes no sense that in the place where, when I was new here, coming from Israel, I felt like these schools are finally making me have an open mind, an open heart to staying here. And now all of a sudden, when I have kids and I'm a parent, I have to think twice about raising my kids here. And it's hard and it's painful. And while I envy you, I envy you and your kids for wearing a Jewish star, I want to hide mine. And I told my son, and it's not fair. If anybody asks you if you're Jewish, say no. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. From, because a lot of them are like, yes, show that you're Jewish. I got this at work. I work in a religious Jewish school, and I wear it proudly. I don't wanna have to do this every time I leave the school. It's not fair, because it's Fair Lawn. And as some of you have said, and repeatedly said it, there's a high percentage of Jews here. There's a high percentage of Israelis here. Why should I do this? Why should I tell my son, please, just don't tell them that you're Jewish? Here? No, it's unacceptable. I'm sorry. It's really unacceptable. And it's, again, I grew up here. I love this town. I refuse to leave. I don't want to leave. But the people that I have worked with have asked me, you may not know what a mezuzah is. A mezuzah is something that we put on our door. And they have asked me, what are you doing with yours? Meaning, are you taking it off? And I told them, I don't want to take it off. But because this was during the fall, I said, but I will decorate it with fall leaves to hide it. And my mom comforted me and she said, you also have a screen door, so it's not that obvious. I don't want to talk about October 7th. I don't. But unfortunately, we have seen enough. We have seen enough of the videos. We have seen enough of the killings. We have seen enough of soldiers that are dying. I don't want to. We've had enough images in our heads. We're very resilient as adults. Our kids, not so much. I'm sorry. And they shouldn't be prepared for horrors. But unfortunately, I feel like, yeah, we have to prepare them for horrors. And I don't know, it's hard. It's very, very hard. I'm sorry, but yeah, thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak or share? Go ahead, Ellen.
Hi, I'm Bella. I'll sign after. I lived here with Crystal. I was actually Crystal's classmate. I wasn't prepared to talk. I actually don't really like to speak in front of town. I just want to say that I echo the sentiments here. I would love for Hebrew to be part of a language here. For the children, I have 3 children in the school system. I have 2 in Bradburn and a 3-year-old who's going to be in the school system soon. So it would be amazing if the kids could get that. I have family in Israel, and we would love to learn the language, and I'm sure many people would as well. So I just want to put my voice out there as well.
I do want to also say everyone has the opportunity to speak. However, it's a little bit challenging to follow, but if there is anybody that is here to speak on another topic, we do want to hear your voice as well.
I want to share something that happened to me right before I came. I went with my kids to shopping. The cashier there heard me speaking to my kids in Hebrew, and she said, "Shalom." And he said, oh, shalom, that's nice. And he said, where are you from? She said, I'm from Syria. I'm a Christian from Syria. And I learned Hebrew from ShopRite. Why ShopRite and not in our schools? Why not bringing peace through the language into our community? And it's not supposed to be in ShopRite, it's supposed to be in our schools. Thank you.
Christine Weinstein, Maryland. I grew up in this town as well, and I do remember being in high school. And so, to me, yeah, it should be there. I've worked with the Israeli companies, they're fantastic, I still work together with them. I do not speak Hebrew, but I would love to know what they're saying. So I do see a great importance about bringing it back, but that's not really my main topic, so I do agree with all of you, and I really commend you all for being here tonight, and all the kids that got up and spoke. It's really a brave thing to do, so thank you for being here. My concern is about, my son is a junior in high school, and we are diving into, of course, the college application process. And I have heard from many parents, the reason I'm standing here is because we need to address our guidance counselor issue. We seem to have, our guidance counselors are great. I love our guidance department. Ms. Gupta is amazing. Everyone that I come in contact with is very great, but they are stretched very thin. So if we can please somehow figure out how to bring more guidance counselors in, especially in the junior and the senior level, so they can help parents and help students navigate the college application process. I think it would be very beneficial. It's become a very, it's a monster. I mean, it's a monster process. And I did it myself when I'm back in, I don't really want to say, but yeah, just a couple of years ago. But it's really grown into this big monstrous thing, and I think that it would be really beneficial if we could help our parents and support our students better. Thank you.
I'm Raquel. I'm a student here at Fairlawn High School, and I wanted to agree with what everybody else said, but I also wanted to share from a student. I wanted to say how hard it is to be a Jewish student right now. There's a lot of things that are said to us, but there's also the things that go unsaid, like the signs of the teachers and all the adults. Since nothing's really been done yet, I wanted to say that we need some help. The conflict and the struggle have been mostly ignored, and it's not fair. It's not fair that we're scared to come to school and that we're receiving no help. Most of the struggle is caused by the ignorance. We come to school to learn and to be educated, and that's just, it's not happening about that, and it should be. So, thank you.
I'm going to close the floor to public comment and open the floor to board comments on non-agenda items. Ms. Yearman.
So I heard what Mr. Schauer said. I heard what the rest of the community had to say. And I think the worlds collide. We're having Rare Disease Day on February 29th. My two children have a rare disease. And there are many Israeli companies, startup companies, pharmaceutical companies that are startups in the States, a startup in Israel that has brought drugs to market that have helped my children and many other children with rare diseases. And we see how that meets. Now I'll go back to the mid-70s. I moved to Fairlawn in 1973. I got to the high school. And at that point, it was around the Israeli 1973 Yom Kippur War. And there were issues within the school, but there was a lovely man, Dr. Abraham Beckler, who taught both Hebrew and American history. And I think he taught until the early 1990s, and he just recently passed away within the last 6 or 8 months. And what a wonderful man he was. And I know that everybody came in last year and talked about a program where you could share a teacher with another district to bring Hebrew to our school. I don't remember the exact, I'm sure other people can give more information after. But I believe that Hebrew should, if we're gonna have Chinese, French, Spanish, Hebrew would be an addition that would help, especially like some of the youngsters said, applying to colleges that had Hebrew programs already in place, and there's some already in Bergen County. And I think with the large Israeli, Jewish community within Fair Lawn, it's a much needed program, and I think we should move forward, not at warp speed, but I think we should move a little bit faster than we have in the last couple of years. So I support it.
Yes. As the speakers came up to the mic, I started taking notes. Unfortunately, there were so many speakers that I've got notes written all over. So it's going to be a little jumbled here. First of all, I am really appalled and I'm really upset over the fact that there are still people, still students afraid to come to school, students afraid to show their identity, and still discriminatory things, anti-Semitism happening to the students. I know that I had spoken in the October board meeting regarding this. There were structures in place where we're going to be put in place so that this would not occur anymore. I thought that it was a done deal, as you spoke, Dr. Dionisio, approximately a month or two ago. There were no comments made to the board whatsoever of continued anti-Semitism. Now they're telling me that it is still occurring. And truthfully, I want to know why the board has not had this brought to their attention. Now, I don't know if administration knows about it. I don't know if principals are being told about this. I don't know if students don't want to get involved so that they are keeping it to themselves. But at this point, we know that there is still anti-Semitism occurring in the schools. So my big question is, I know that there are procedures in place to combat this. I want to know now if we're going to continue searching new avenues in order to stop this rampant anti-Semitism in the school. There should not be any student regarding any religion afraid to come to school. Absolutely not. And I'm really, really upset that this is still occurring. Regarding the Hebrew language, the parents came to us, you were not here, last, I believe, February, to discuss their concern about having the Hebrew language in place. They were told a survey was going to be done prior to your coming. It has now been 1 year to that date, if I am not incorrect, that there still has not been a survey that has taken place. The need for the Hebrew language was emphasized by the parents. I am in total agreement with what they're saying because of their total population within the district. We've satisfied those holidays for Diwali. We have satisfied those holidays for Eid al-Fitr because of the population within our cities. We now need to satisfy the need for the Hebrew language because of the population of the Jewish people living in our town. Next month, I know that you said that there was going to be an update on various topics. One of them was going to be reach. One of them was going to be community service. One of them was going to be work session. I would hope that one of them is going to be the survey in completion, so that these parents do not need to continue to wait, nor take their time to come out each month, which I'm sure they will, to voice their concern about what their concerns are. I believe that's all that I have to say on that topic. I also now want to speak about the liaison for the Fair Lawn Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention. Last night we had our meeting and Brenda Gupta was elected the treasurer of that organization. And Brenda at the present time is formulating plans and programs for parents, hopefully, for students, as well as for teachers in the middle school, as well in the high school, on opioid use and how to prevent it. And the signs looking, at your children to see if they possibly are taking opioids. She also mentioned that there's a good possibility that she's working right now on a student wellness day in May. So, in March? I'm sorry. So, I want to thank Brenda for taking over that position and for following through on these plans. And again, I am looking forward to all those updates next month. Thank you.
Ms. Brown.
I want to thank everybody for getting up and speaking tonight. I know it's difficult and the topic is difficult. I think that the job of education in a community is to reflect its community. And I don't think that we are fully there yet in reflecting our community. I'm in full support of moving forward, like Ms. Yorman said, not at warp speed, but at an appropriate speed in order to get exactly what our community needs in the schools. And I think also something that is also important in the education field is that silence and inaction is complacency. And complacency. And I don't want that to be our community. I don't want that to be our school system. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart that students come to school afraid and they feel that they have to hide their identity, and parents feel that they have to tell their students to hide their identity. No one should have to hide who they are. I want to be the best ally as a board member to all of the constituents in my community. So I am sitting here telling you that I am your ally. And there are many, many things that we can do as a community. I know there are professional developments for social studies teachers to specifically get their master's degree surrounding the Holocaust. There are grants out there that educators can do it for free. There are a wealth of other professional development opportunities. I think the more education, I know as an educator myself, as a lifelong educator, that the more we flood our education system with the truth and with information, the lower the amount of hate we will see. So I think that we need to flood our education system with as much information and as much education as possible to increase the tolerance and to end the hate in our community. And I'm sorry that you have to continue to come here every day, every month to speak about this, because it's not right. And I am your ally. And I will do whatever it takes to make sure that you guys feel safe coming to school. And that's it.
Anybody else? Let's say that was just-
It broke my heart. I went to Fairlawn schools and I've always felt safe, and it broke my heart when students came to the podium and said that they felt scared to go to school. It broke my heart because I'm Jewish myself and I'm Ukrainian also from Ukraine, so both of those conflicts have been devastating to me in many ways, and it's basically my whole identity are both at war now. So it's very like a touchy subject to me, and I usually don't speak out. But when I heard those kids speak that they're scared, it just, I don't know. I implore the administration to do everything in their power to make sure that every child feels safe in our schools. Without being safe, children can't learn. I also feel that having Hebrew in our schools would be great, and I fully support that, and I hope we can take steps as a board and with the administration to find ways to make sure that it will happen for next year. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, Marie wants to talk.
Once the board's done.
I think the board's done. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, before you speak, can you check the Google Doc?
For public comment?
God.
Yeah, sure.
I apologize, guys. I forgot to ask for if there was comments on the Google Doc because I wanted to make sure that everyone who was present had that opportunity. So I'm just gonna ask Dr. Dionisio to check that Google Doc to make sure that anyone else who could not be present's voice is heard, and then.
Sure. So we have some additional comments from the second public comment section. Lorraine Rubenacker, Fairlawn, the new calendar doesn't give our students a break between school year and the extended school year program. They really need it as does our staff. Aparajita Oja, please make November 6th a holiday so that we can plan something for that week. Harika Travakar, children will benefit more from more number of instructional days, and pushing the last date of school to June 27th would be good. Also, I did say that we're all over the place with the calendar. These are all valid points, right? I think we could all see those. Also, typically, the last 2 days of school are early dismissals and request that these days be changed to full days of school. Svetlana Rustamova, regarding the school calendar for 2024-2025, we can start earlier. Absolutely, February should be a full week break, needed in many aspects. Rearrange off days to finish school earlier in June. Sheena Abraham, an introduction of a new language is an excellent idea, and I fully support that. However, consider this, there are 571 million people in the world that speak Hindi. There are 9 million that speak Hebrew. Our interaction with the Indians in this community and globally are only increasing daily, either via technology, business transactions, or just talking with your neighbors. Fairlawn is an extremely active and large Indian community, and the impact to our town is seen clearly with Diwali school holidays and celebrations in the spring. So before deciding to add Hebrew, let's also consider Hindi as a possible new language, one with much broader global reach and potentially more useful in students' future careers and lives. And Harika Prabhakar, the month of November is full of holidays and early dismissals. There are only 12 days of school. Overall, the calendar is full of holidays and early dismissals. There needs to be more instructional full
Hey
days
guys,
of school.
I promise we are almost done. We're just gonna let
Frankly, the school
Dr.
calendar-
Please let Dr. Dionisio finish.
is going to be tough for working parents, and we will now have to spend more time and more backup care and making arrangements for pickup, drop-off for early dismissal days. So those are all the comments.
So the floor is yours.
In regards to the comments from the public, in regards to the comments from the board, first specifically to our students and to our Jewish and Hebrew families, Israeli families, I know that I speak on behalf of our entire Board of Education and our entire faculty and staff that school absolutely must be a safe place for all of your children and for every single child to come into school. There is no compromising on that. We do not tolerate anti-Semitism of any kind. We do not tolerate any hate, bias, or discrimination of any kind. We have and will continue to have a zero tolerance for that. And we will continue to address those matters as swiftly as possible. It is disheartening is an understatement when I know that we have to continue to communicate and you have to have these experiences, your children, your families, in not feeling safe, and that we have to continue to communicate, that we continue to have challenges within our school. As you know, recently, when I communicated a few weeks ago about a recent incident with a swastika and anti-Semitic comments at the high school in the restroom. I've shared with the Board of Education our commitment to convening a community leadership council that will be comprised of educational leaders, educators, parents, community members, and religious leaders. I've been in touch with several rabbis both from Fair Lawn and the local region, and we will be convening a committee on that council in order to help partner with us to guide the work that needs to occur and to be done here in the district. I could also speak to some of the comments in regards to, all of you weren't here, I think it was last month at the board meeting when I actually spoke about the steps and the measures that have been taken in regards to some of the major initiatives around district and board goals and the happenings over the course of the past year, whether it was requests that have come from our Hebrew community, our Israeli community regarding the Hebrew language, and surveying our student body regarding interest with different types of world languages. So that's in play and in process. Dr. Lakatina and I and members of our administrative team have been hard at work developing a comprehensive survey that I mentioned last month. The presentation that's going to be occurring is not scheduled for next month. As I mentioned last month, the presentation is going to be in May.
I'm sorry.
The survey that actually Dr. Lakatina and the team, and thank you, and the team for working so quickly on this. We have a survey that I just actually received the draft of yesterday from Dr. Lakatina, Google form that I'm going to review. And the team has put it together, and we have a comprehensive survey that will go to our student body that will survey them not only on their interests around Hebrew and other world languages, but also around the volunteer hours and surveying our student body around how involved they are with volunteer hours and community service within our community, both locally and regionally. Career and technical education, the CTE initiative that we have as a school district, and a number of other topics that we really want to capture our student voice in. As a result of that, we'll then take that, we'll bring that back to the board, we'll bring it through our education committee, and then we'll be able to make some decisions. As I mentioned last month as well, the timing of being able to introduce any world language, whether it's Hebrew or other world languages, it could be multiple languages once we get the results back and analyze it. That work has to happen. It cannot possibly happen for this September. And the reason it can't happen for this September, all of you who have children either currently in high school or have previously had children in high school, you know that the scheduling process begins in January and it runs through March or April, which means that the course of study book has to be completed by October in order to prepare for our course scheduling. So the surveying that we're doing now is really establishing the foundation for what's to come this upcoming fall regarding the course of study with our world languages. So that's why May is so important, to be able to provide that update. And then last but not least, I cannot imagine how difficult it would be for children and families to come forward. We all know how difficult it is for you to come in public, never mind to come to the school, but to come in public and to speak on video and to speak from the heart. But I implore you that if there are incidents of anti-Semitism and hate happening, to please contact your building principal and assistant principal. We have mechanisms in place for us to swiftly act and to address these forms of anti-Semitism and hate and bias of any kind. And we have those procedures in place in order to be able to act upon them. And those are the matters that the board is privy to and aware of that we discuss in confidential executive session that I bring forward to the board. And then we talk about those issues and what steps are being taken. So again, thank you for your voices tonight. I am sorry that you're in this situation. We are here to help support you and your children and your families. And just know that we're allies and we're partners with you. So we thank you for coming tonight.
Our upcoming meeting dates include the following: February 24th, beginning at 8:30 in our high school media center is our board retreat, which is open to the public. On March 7th is our tentative work session for our budget presentation, which will take place here at Edison at 7:30 p.m. The following week, on March 14th, is our tentative preliminary budget adoption, 7:30 here at Edison in room 19. And then we have our regularly scheduled monthly meeting for April 18th, 2024, here at Edison School in room 19 at 7:30. And then on May 2nd, 2024, will be our tentative public hearing, budget adoption at 7:30 p.m. here at Edison School in room 19. I need a motion to go back, to recess back into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
We will be in exec for approximately 30 minutes. No further action will be taken tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. We have a motion and a second?
Yeah, I said.
Yes.
Mel.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody
All in
get one.
favor?
Aye.
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you.
What was the topic?
Two.
I'm sorry? I'm sorry.
And,
Okay, great.
you have